There we go. I believe I'm live. I'm on the stream. There we go. Perfect. Do you want to do a quick introduction of who you are? Sure. Or
Hi. So,
give
hello,
your.
I'm Shaw. I'm one of the guys here on the server. I'm currently a senior medical student in Scotland.
There we go.
So,
I
I've been
believe I'm live.
training in that for a while. I've done some psychiatry placements. I've also done a bit of extended patient placements, as well as getting to know some people within mental health clinics. I've been in the fitness server for a while, work out myself, I'd like to think. And well, I'm not sure what else to say.
Yeah, no, that works. That works. Gives you
I just
gives gives
I
people
like
a
people.
gives people an insight to um your knowledge and where you've got it from. So shows
I
that you
would still
actually
be very
have
frustrated if I
shows that you actually have qualifications, unlike me, who just has depression.
don't move.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm Scott, obviously moderator, supreme fat boy, uh, lifts heavy things, has depression, and thinks about suicide sometimes. So that's always fun. That's always happy. But yeah, no, just thought
It's,
it'd be nice to get a mental health Q&A slash chat session just to kind of open and improve communications about mental health, because mental health is something that is always kind of not really talked about too much. I think that it's still kind of in the back of minds of conversations. We don't like talking about uncomfortable topics, obviously, and kind of getting more people out in the open and saying, "Yeah, look, all right, I did try and kill myself a couple of times. This is how I've tried to deal with my shit myself." Um, Instead of just keeping it in the back of your mind and not saying anything to anyone.
aye, it really is a case like that. I've seen a lot of people, both personally as friends and family, and out in my very limited practice, of people that just see what they consider their own state of mind. They don't see it as a mental illness, they just see it as something that's to be standard and expected.
Yeah,
People coming back, hating their job and not being able to find enjoyment in just watching TV or playing some music or whatever, or people staying up all night worrying, purely thinking, oh, it's just a bit of work stress, maybe it's just this, maybe it's just that. And I've seen it in a lot of people, especially in fitness communities as well as medical communities. They're a lot more prone to stress, but they try to tough it out a lot more rather than face it. And
yeah,
fear facing it is the toughest thing.
yeah. I think the normal phrase is "man up."
Mm-hmm. Aye, well, it can be useful in just man up and face your issues instead of man up and ignore them. But
Yeah,
it's become such a big stigma around it that it's almost impossible to get out of the minds of people. I know many people that agree in principle with the idea of opening up, but still have that niggling thought in the back of the mind of, ah, it's good for everyone else, but not for me. If I do it, I'm weak.
yeah, definitely. I think there's the 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 it goes back to, like, say, not talking about it. If someone else doesn't show weakness, because obviously in terms of social media, we have this always online presence, and everyone is always showing their best part of their lives. They're not showing the bits where they break down in the bath crying and eating Nutella.
Aye.
No, that isn't a
It,
personal problem.
it's
um
rare you see that,
you don't see
especially
the
with
weakness.
aye, especially with your fitness influencers. Sure, you can see their PRs, you can see their bodies, you can see how well they've been doing, but you don't see either the struggles or how much assistance they've been getting or how long it's actually been or any drugs they might have been using. You don't see that. You
No.
just see owned abs and them saying you can have this too,
Yep.
or the 3D delts and saying, "Yep, I'm fully natural. You can get this too in I don't know 6 months."
Yeah, no, it's always a big issue.
So perhaps we should start in getting onto some of these questions. Should we start from the top or should we just start from now?
If we start at the top and then just move our way down, and eventually we'll be able to get to the bottom.
Okay, so first, all right, Joe, that's a bloody good one. I am. I
Always
am
a
speaking.
classic.
Yes. I may sound like I'm on a drunken temper, but I am in fact speaking English, as hard as it might be for many of you to imagine.
He is really trying. This is as
I
good as you
am.
get.
Aye, so you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it.
Right.
Okay, Scott, this next one is at you. Any tips for lowering stress while moving?
Okay, I'm going to ask a question first of all because do you mean just physically moving around or do you mean moving house?
Because I thought like moving house that would make more sense, but I don't know. Get back to us on that one.
Moving as in moving to a new house. Okay. Um, I don't have a massive amount of experience dealing with this, mostly because my house moves have been done, the majority of them, when I was like 3 years old. And when I was 3 years old, the only thing I cared about was ice cream and Pokemon, right? Um, but as an adult, I think I've moved once. I think the only thing you can really do is try and be organized to the point of like compel. I can't even speak now. Like compulsive organization, almost to a point. You know,
I
you
guess I
get
can.
boxes and you organize everything, and you have notes and you label everything that you physically possibly can, and try and
I,
remove the
I guess.
amount of like external factors that bother you in a way.
I guess I could probably weigh in on this because my girlfriend's moving in with me as we speak. She's been doing it the last few days, and yeah, the stress has been real. But the best way to do it is, if you can, do it in small chunks. You just try and do a little bit every day in the time leading up to it, rather than wait until a week before. Just try and frantically pack all your stuff at once. And like Scott said, be methodical about it. If you do little and often, sure, maybe your last week you're sitting with down but nothing but a pan, a thing of vegetable oil, and some old live laugh laugh ornaments that your mum gave you when you were 13 or whatever, but you'll at least be done. When you move in, it'll be done like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even if you have to start, 2 or 3 weeks before, start putting stuff
Okay,
in boxes that you don't use that much, and then it's already packed.
so next one.
Next one. Where is
You
the
can read
next
out
one?
mine.
How do I get myself up from bed to go to the gym?
Oh, that's a fun one. Well, for me, I'm newer to the gym than Scott is, at least properly. I used to go and just mess about like a lot of people, but I actually got my act together. Uh, I I'd say the best thing to do is just force yourself the first few weeks. I do it first thing in the morning, so I'll get up at half six, seven, wake up, brush my teeth, get dressed, go out. That sounds cruel, but it works for me. You just you don't have to do it first thing in the morning if you don't like it. You just find a way during the day where it works best for you. If it's after breakfast, fine. If it's in the evening, fine. If it's 3 in the morning, fine. Just as long as you get yourself there at a time when it suits you. You have anything to weigh on with this?
The only thing I wanted to add was that if I want to get up early in the morning, like you said, I have to get up as soon as I open my eyes, because I know that if I lay in bed half asleep for about 5 minutes, it will turn into an hour and a half.
I
If
know, I
I
know the feeling.
if I have my alarm on and the alarm goes off, my eyes open, and I immediately get out of bed and not get back
Well,
into bed, then I can stay awake. But if I snooze just the once, I will be in there for another hour.
my other tip would be, if you're really struggling, before bed, drink a pint of two or water. Just do it.
Yep,
And that way, if you wake up and your willpower isn't enough to get you out of bed, your bladder will make sure of it.
yep, that's good too.
Okay, so hopefully that answers it.
Yep.
So, Shiro, what's the relationship between physical and mental health? And this one's for you.
I'm gonna answer it in my lack of actual knowledge way because I have a couple of theories and opinions, but I think the majority of the answer should really go to you because you're, studying the body. I think that there is a huge connection between physical and mental health, both physical health impacting mental health, but also mental health impacting physical health. Obviously, a lot of that will be slightly irrelevant for a lot of people because I am thinking of fringe cases where if you feel sick or you feel like you're in a situation which is making you sick, then you can effectively gain physical symptoms of said sickness. So in cases of, say, conversion disorder, mass hysteria.
You brought up my fun thing.
Physical symptoms can be manifested by your mental reaction to certain events. Obviously, my description of that is going to be a lot worse than Shaw's description of that. But essentially, if your mind thinks you're sick and you kind of convince yourself that you're sick, which is different than to Munchausen's, but I'm not getting into that because that's a complete minefield. You will develop physical symptoms. That's for another day. I'm not getting into that. But yeah, no. If you have a cause of negativity in your mind in a mental sense, then just from my own experiences, I physically feel worse just during the day. If I have worse depression than normal, then I physically feel tired. I physically, my joints ache. I can't work out as well because my muscles hurt. It manifests itself as physical pain, at least in my situation or in my experience. So I think there's definitely a very strong link between the two.
There are. To follow on from that, if I was to give a thing of physical and mental process, I would have to say it's just your mental well-being is determined by your environment and your physical body. Both of those are also physical. It is very hard to separate the two, and it always will be. For instance, if you think about, for instance, take depression. We would define depression as just you feel unenfranchised with the world. You cannot get motivated, you have no enjoyment. And your environment and what you do plays a big role in that. If you lie in bed all day because you don't get the motivation to get out of bed, then you will feel ill because you're not moving around, you're probably not getting up to get yourself a nutritious meal, you probably have a poor sleep cycle, and you're probably not hydrated. And it becomes a perpetuating cycle where you feel worse because you didn't have motivation, and you feel worse for not doing the things that are considered quite necessary for your physical well-being. Your mental well-being works in a very similar way. In the same way that a physical process can ruin your mental one, mental can ruin your physical. Like Scott says, for him, it's a case of when his depression feels worse, he will actually physically feel worse. He'll have joint pain, he'll feel tired, he'll feel fatigued. While for a lot of other people, it might not manifest physically in that sense, but someone might have anxiety and always have that feeling of butterflies in their stomach or the feeling they're about to vomit. Other people might have, for instance, what's pretty standard here, body dysmorphia. In the fitness community, that is a very big issue. A lot of people with that may not have much of a mental process, but might actually just feel themselves and think, oh, this is a bit too fat, or this is a bit too small, or this is a bit too soft. So it's impossible to separate the two. You can't have one without the other. Now I have to scroll all the way back up to see where the next one is. Okay, you want to read this one out? X, Y, Z, Z.
So, any tips on how to have more energy in general? Being feeling like I'm in no mood for anything lately, even though I do work out. Whew.
Well,
Yeah, big one.
that's a yeah. Well, the standard stuff. Yeah, working out helps with energy, but it's not the be all end all. I mean, I feel more energized, but my girlfriend, she works out with me, and afterwards, she's absolutely knackered. Like, it drains her the whole morning.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, assuming you're eating right, sleeping right, and you have all that under control, it, it was a mix of things. You could find something that you're looking forward to reward you throughout the day, like doing something that you might enjoy. If you're waking up and you're thinking, "Oh God, I have to read this," or "Oh, bloody hell, I need to go and do that," then you're not going to have the energy to do it. Finding small things throughout the day to help reward yourself, it can make all the difference. Like going, "Oh, if I do this, I can watch this episode later, or I can go on a wee binge tonight, or I can do whatever." And doing that can help with energy. But that is assuming that you're eating healthily and in a sustainable way, you're getting enough sleep, regular sleep, and you're hydrated. You have anything to add?
No, I was just about to say at the end, I found that if I have low energy, then one of the easiest fixes normally is drinking more water
Aye.
because I'm normally
You'll definitely be feeling
dehydrated.
that now, won't you?
Oh yes, oh yes. 4.5 liters in, I'm wired and ready to go.
Hope you're by, hope you're by the bathroom.
But yeah, no, that's pretty much what I would have said too. So
Okay, so Travi man, how do you handle not getting too overwhelmed when you have lots of responsibilities and things going on? Oh God, hitting close to home there, buddy. Hitting very close to home there. Y-
yeah,
Yeah, so some of you might know this. I'm starting my general practice blocks on Monday, which means I'm going to be out there practicing, consulting as a baby doctor of sorts, taking blood, injections, consulting people, helping crying babies stop, emergencies, things like that. And the amount of paperwork I have to do, the amount of studying I'm having to do, is really creeping up on me. And honestly, earlier today, I was just staring at a book. None of it was going in, and I was just thinking to myself, "Oh God, I am not prepared for Monday. I might end up prescribing morphine to a kid or something. I don't know." And the best thing I found was first off just taking a step back and sitting down and just doing something else for 15, 30 minutes. And that put me in a much better state of mind to go back to it and just break it down. This is the next bit. Just break it down into small, manageable tasks. If you can take a big thing like reading half a textbook and then break it down into, all right, take an hour, I'll read this chapter today, and then I'll take an hour, consolidate it tomorrow, and then read a new chapter. If you do it like that, then things tend not to be too bad. Especially with responsibilities, even those you can break down. If say, oh no, take a pet, feed it, clean it, wash it. They're all small separate tasks. If you set time aside for them, you tend to do okay. Bad analogy, I know, but it's the first one that came to mind. You have any thoughts on that?
no, pretty much the same to be honest. I'm a really big fan of doing things in chunks and rewarding myself. I can't. There's a proper name for the method, but essentially you have like
Oh, the
45
Pomodoro
minutes. That's the one. Yeah, I really like that because it means I can look forward to another 10, 15 minutes of like stuff I actually want to do.
and it's also
And
with pasta.
yeah, yeah, true. Um,
Um,
yeah, just try and break
that's
it
what my
down,
routine.
little bite-sized chunks, and then it doesn't feel so daunting. Even stuff like having to renew my insurance because I'm a fully grown adult somehow. All of them like renew at the same time, so I'll think right. Monday I will do the house insurance, or like Tuesday will be like health insurance, and just break it down into little chunks, and then I don't want to jump
Just
off a
forget to
building
do that.
afterwards.
He just reminded me I have to send off a reading to the gas company. Oh god. Yeah, yeah, it does all creep up on you. There's once it starts, it doesn't stop. You just have to find a way to cope.
Yep.
Okay, you get the next one by Colin Watermelon.
English. You're meant to be thinking English.
By
But yeah,
Colin
what
Watermelon.
protein is good for building and repairing muscles. It is your building block of your body, and without which you would crumble to pieces and die.
I second that. That is my medical opinion.
Yep. Does it matter
Okay.
what I eat at the age of 15? Yes.
Yes. It matters what you eat at every age.
Nice.
Obviously,
Yep.
yeah, you're 15. Chances are you're probably just getting fed what your parents cook for you, so you don't get as much choice as you would when you're our age, old as hell, and having to actually cook.
Yep. But yes, it
So
does.
it does. Like you can't just eat McDonald's and Burger King and ice cream every day and expect it to be good for you.
I wish it was.
There is the
But
adage. We all wish it was. Who wouldn't want to just go to McDonald's every day?
yeah.
Actually, no. Me, I worked at McDonald's. Don't go there, kids.
KFC?
KFC? I don't know. I didn't work there, and frankly, I don't want to work there. I don't want to ruin the illusion.
Yeah, if you
Um,
don't see what's in the back, you can't be disturbed by it. That's the same process
exactly.
as I don't want to know
Ma-
what's in the haggis, I just want to eat it and enjoy it.
Imagine, along with cigarettes, if just buckets of fried chicken slap on a label. This product causes obesity,
That
and
is
people
that is
and
something that
people
I would want to happen.
and people dig into the fried chicken grease on their finger, staring down at their bucket, going, "Oh, I hate it when they put these on. It really puts you off." Finishes the whole bucket.
Yep. No, I genuinely would be completely supportive of like the same warnings that you get from cigarette labels, like the packs having like photos of obese stomachs and like clogged arteries and stuff, just inside the wall of the KFC bucket. Just so
You
when,
know, in Scotland,
just so it.
one of those cigarette packet things has become a national joke.
Oh no, I didn't know this.
There's a very famous character of a very famous TV show here, and one of the things that happened was he lost his leg to smoking.
Okay.
So now, whenever people see the one leg on the cigarette packets, they go, "Oh, that's Winston."
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. How to summon Cthulhu to give me power to do a full plank.
Neither of us are anything to do with calisthenics, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Draw a
no, not.
pentagram on the floor. Just like decorate it around with like bags of chalk and some parallel bars and
And just,
speak Latin.
yeah, get some my protein containers, dot them about, and just do diamond push-ups in the center until he appears.
Yeah, exactly. But for real, if you just want to ask that in exercise and tag
Just,
help, then actual
just go on,
calisthenics people will be able to help.
and also just go on body the bodyweight Reddit. They'll probably have someone that's in the exact same position.
Yep. Right, next one. Cameo.
Okay.
How to overcome anxiety when you are new to the gym. The one and biggest and best tip that I can give when being new to the gym is that nobody else cares about you being in the gym.
I was about to
It's
say that
it
no one gives a
sounds
shit.
it sounds harsh, but the other people in the gym do not care that you're there. They're not going to be looking at you. They're not going to be checking you out. They don't care one bit. They're there for themselves. They want to go to the gym, lift some weights, and leave. They're not watching people and showing, oh, he's new, I'm going to watch him and make sure he does no mistakes. No.
Yeah, we could not care in the slightest. Obviously, we're happy that more people go to the gym, except when we want to use that exact piece of equipment. But regardless,
Yep.
it's a case of You're there, you do your own stuff. We're there, we do our own stuff.
Yep.
Just don't be an arsehole.
That's basically it.
Clean your equipment, put the weights back, don't grunt obsessively, and just be a decent person and no one will care. Look, I know a guy who went to the gym and he was on the bench and he couldn't even bench the empty barbell. He couldn't bench 20 kilos, 45 pounds. No one cared. No one cares that he struggled with that. And no one will care. Because they're not looking at you on the bench. They're looking at their own biceps in the mirror while they're doing their 13th set of concentration curls.
Yep. Or 50th set of bench.
Okay, you can leave yourself out of this.
Yeah, basically it. And, you know, do the standard stuff
Yeah.
being talking to gym staff to make sure that you know how to use the equipment and you know, being a nice person.
Just wear what feels comfortable. And also, if you're in the UK, I can vouch for this. Pure Gym, if there's one near you, it has an app where it actually tells you how many people are at the gym, and it also tells you when it's at its fullest and at its emptiest. So, if you're still really anxious to go into the gym and you don't really want to go, you can figure out when the gym's emptiest and go at that time if it makes you feel more comfortable. Or better yet, bring a friend.
Yep, that works.
It is not as intimidating as it looks. After you're there for a wee while, you realise, oh, they're just like me, except a bit bigger.
Yep. And then 6 months down the line, you will be bigger, and then the new people will be coming in and go, oh, he's just like me, but he's bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And also, little secret, if you go in with all of the fitness workout plans from this server, you will end up bigger than half the people in the gym, because from what I've seen and understood, half the people in Pure Gym at least don't use programs, they just go and throw themselves about.
Yep. So, next one.
Just don't worry about it. Okay, next one.
All for you.
For me, can mixing weed and alcohol, SSRIs and antipsychotics cause you to have seizures? Ooh. Well, this is definitely one for me, then, isn't it? I cannot say, because I don't know what antipsychotics and SSRIs this person would be using and the quantities of weed and alcohol. Ultimately, I wouldn't think so, because to be in status epilepticus, to have a seizure, you would have to have some brain disposition. And alcohol's a depressant. Weed is a different... what's it called again? It's also sort of depressant. It's just... SSRIs, they don't really lead to seizures, and antipsychotics... Honestly, if you're taking SSRIs and antipsychotics, I wouldn't worry about seizures. But ultimately, if you or you know anyone that's doing this, they should go and ask their doctor. Because you shouldn't be asking someone on the internet about potential side effects that you could be having from medication that you were taking.
Yep, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to a doctor.
Speak to doctor. And not me, I'm not a doctor yet. Come back to me in 2 years.
Okay, so
Okay.
I was on a 30-day workout plan for some school stuff and etc. I've been doing no working out mid-month and eating a lot. Should I just continue or keep going? Keep working out. That's simple. Like, obviously, if you have like scheduling issues, then you can either try and have shorter workouts, less workouts, or do bodywork exercises at home when you have the chance. But basically, yeah, there's no reason to not like carry on working out. We have routines, we have programs here available for free that carry on for more than 30 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see no reason to say no to that. Unless you have massive scheduling issues, but even then you can get something done.
Exactly. Like, an example would be our bodyweight routine. That's split up into 7 different exercises, and because most of them are body weights that don't need any additional equipment except for pull-ups and dips, you could do these anywhere at any time. And you don't have to do it all at once. You could do your pull-ups and dips at some point. You could do your squats and rows at another point. Even at the gym, if you do not have time for 40 minutes workouts, like Scott said, do a 30-minute one or a 20-minute one. Working out a little is immensely much more healthier for you and better for your overall well-being than not working out at all. And you probably still will see some results.
Yep.
If not, your body and your heart will still thank you for it.
Yep, certainly will. You on the next one?
Okay, next one. How do I overcome gym anxiety and break out of my comfort zone? My friends have also been drifting away and I feel lonely. Well, I think we answered the first one before, but breaking out your comfort zone is a cycle. It is a cycle. First off, you have to understand that you want to do it. You can, it has to actually be in your mind to do it. If you think about doing it, but then you just brush it off 5 minutes later, then you're not at that stage yet. Once you're thinking about doing it, you have to actually act toward it. So sign up for a gym membership. Actually go to a gym. You don't have to actually work out the first time you go, just go. And then afterwards, go do one exercise, then go to 2 exercises. Eventually, start making a habit of it. And then once you make a habit, actually get a program, which one of us here would happily help you with. As for your friends and loneliness, I don't know, man. I'm in a similar situation here. Uni's been fun. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, it was great fun. It's been a
Yeah.
fun year and a half of lockdowns and loneliness. I'm probably one of the worst people to talk about in terms of feeling lonely because I'm quite isolated anyway. I go to work, I go to the gym, I come home, I eat, and I stay on my laptop for most of the day after that.
I
That's comfortable for me. And I haven't broken out of a comfort zone myself, so I can't really answer how to not do that.
For me, I'm in a similar situation. I'm quite happy by my lonesome. I'm quite happy if it's just me or just me and my girlfriend or just me and a couple pals. But if your friend's been drifting away, just talk to them. It, you might feel very weird or very awkward about reconnecting to someone you haven't spoken to for months, but honestly, they won't care. They won't mind. They'll be happy. They're your friends.
Yep.
Like, I have pals from my work that I did when I worked on the COVID wards that I only speak to like once every 2 or 3 months. But when I do speak to them, go out, have a drink, have a laugh. And I could probably hang out with them more if I wasn't so busy doing stuff like this. But that's just me. If you really want it, all you have to do is ask. It really is that simple. It's just that Scott and I are two lonely gits that don't mind being in our own company.
I am quite crazy enough to entertain myself most days.
I have a piano, a TV, I'm happy enough.
Exactly. I have a bass guitar and a ukulele and a TV. I'm fine.
I mean, I have a guitar, but I barely ever played the bastard. Okay, next. How do you prevent relapsing into depression or any other mental illness?
Medication and cognitive behavioural therapy discussions.
Unless,
Therapists.
unless, yeah, unless it's anxiety, then it isn't CBT anymore.
Is it
It's
not? Interesting.
no, it never really was. It was for combined disorders, but now for anxiety, they tend to use uh, more control-based therapies.
Okay.
But just you avoid relapsing by going to your doctor, going to your counsellor, and making sure you're on the right medication and on the right path. If you think you have a mental illness and you think you're relapsing with one you haven't been diagnosed, go see a doctor. Go talk to someone. Because if it's bad enough for you to think it's a mental illness, then it's bad enough to see a doctor. You don't get anyone else that has a broken leg going, oh, it's no real. It's just me. I'll deal with it. No. If that happened, you go to your injuries unit or you go to emergency department or you go see a doctor. It's the same with mental illness. It's an illness. Illnesses have to be treated if you want them to get better. Sure, Some people might get better naturally. It might have just been one brief moment of depression or one brief spell that they got over by themselves. Yeah, if it is, you're still better off seeing the doctor because it can help it go away sooner. Like Scott said, get all the medication you require, get the therapy you require. I cannot tell you what you require because that's not my job. That's you and your doctor to decide.
Yeah, and you often find that obviously this isn't for everyone, but if you're kind of a long-term person on like long-term medication in terms of like years upon years, the more times you relapse or the more times you have to say get back on the medication, I've found that the times after that, like the third, fourth, fifth time, generally lower doses help more. I don't know if it's a standard thing or if it's just kind of what helped with me specifically.
That's a standard thing.
But like I started off, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. That diagnosis has since been revoked, as it were. They don't think I do have bipolar disorder. It's just that I had bad doctors. We won't get into that too much, but I was originally diagnosed with lithium, and that was a fairly high dose for about 3-4 years, I think. But now at the moment I'm on one of the lowest doses of Prozac that is created. I think it's 20 milligrams off the top of my head without looking at the pack.
That's one of the lowest. I think the lowest to go to is 10 milligrams, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, 10 or 20, it's one of the two. They're all the way over in the other end of the room and I'm lazy. But my point is, I started on quite a lot of medication. There was lithium and like either one or two others. And now when I go back to my GP and say, look, I'm struggling again, then it's quite a low dose, and it just kind of just eases off things and makes everything a little less agitated.
Hi. People tend to think if they get mental illness, then it's something that's going to brand you for the rest of your life. You go see your doctor once for depression, and then all of a sudden you're suicidal depressant.
Yeah.
Who knows? You might be suicidal, and you maybe are depressed, but it doesn't have to label you. And if you go, you're not going to be on medication for the rest of your life. You're not guaranteed for that. So there's no harm in going and just seeing.
Yep.
And yet, it tends to be the further down you go, if unfortunately it is a chronic mental illness and one that does require long-term treatment, they will lower the dosage. It is standard practice to eventually lower the dosage as you get used to it, and eventually you might come off it entirely. It's entirely down to you, down to your doctor, and down to your circumstance.
Yep. That was a very long-winded answer, but it's fine.
That's just what we're giving tonight. If I'm sorry, lads, but that's what you're getting. And I don't know, ladettes, lassies.
People of
Okay.
all faiths and genders.
Use lot. That's how I'm going to refer to you. Use lot.
Yeah,
There you go.
use lot. That's fine. Next one.
Okay, your turn.
How can you become self-aware in terms of having body dysmorphia? How do you allow yourself to see yourself for what you truly are and gain confidence in general? That is a tricky one.
Is a tricky one, aye. I don't know, Scott, if it's not too personal, have you ever had dysmorphia?
I don't think I've had anything as serious to be able to call it proper official body dysmorphia. I go through stages of not liking how I look. I think most people do. I think you look down at yourself when you're sat and you've got rolls and you're kind of chubby and you don't really look like the people on the posters, because you're not airbrushed and you're not on roids. And yeah, I sometimes despise how I look. But I don't think it's been to the point of body dysmorphia, to be honest. My goals for strength are more strength based than aesthetics based. I would like to look good, sure, but being able to lift 300 kilos is a more appetizing goal for me personally.
Yeah. Who needs to look good when you can bench 4 plates?
Exactly, exactly. No, it's not something I've really dealt with, to be honest.
But as for becoming self-aware, it's hard to say. I mean, if I was to take a very back of the napkin approach to this, body dysmorphia is a bit like a dissociation where you feel a bit detached from the body that you see and the body that you have. It's akin to like anorexia in many points. That's why colloquially in medicine outside of it, it's called being bigorexic because you're no big enough and you want to be bigger. In the same way that anorexic doesn't feel small enough, so they want to get smaller. It is a hard thing to challenge. It's not a case of you look at yourself and go, "No, I am good looking. I have a nice body. I have one I can be proud of." If it were that simple, it wouldn't be a big issue in the fitness community. The best way to become self-aware is to talk about it, get help, talk to someone, understand it. Because honestly, I cannot think of anything more unhealthy for a sense of self and a sense of your own body and self-esteem than standing in front of a mirror and thinking about all the small insecurities about your body and obsessing over them, even though, in the likelihood, if you have it, you're probably in better shape than the majority of the population. It is a difficult one.
Yep.
It is very much a difficult one. I don't think either of us can really have an answer to that. Anything to add?
No, it's pretty much what I said, what I wanted to, or would have done.
Yeah. Hi guys, it's a very cheery Q&A for all of you today. So, let's see the next one. How to overcome being insecure about something that isn't there anymore? Do you mean like being overweight or having acne or something like that that you've lost or has gone away?
I took it as like a situation or something that's happened or something that, some kind of situation that isn't relevant anymore. Something that happened between you and someone else, maybe, or that kind of thing. I don't know.
No idea.
Well, you can answer
Okay.
about what you said first, about like acne
Maybe
or
it's
being overweight or something.
concealed. If you are still listening to us, if you want to tag us and explain what it is specifically you meant, then we can come back to you. How does that sound?
Cool.
Cool.
How do I find the motivation to continue training to achieve my goals when it doesn't seem like I will succeed? Long-term goals are always problematic in a way. I've found that either not having them at all or breaking them down into smaller goals is more manageable. Simply because me thinking to myself, right, I am going to squat 300 kilos. I am a long way off squatting 300 kilos, like really, really far away from squatting 300 kilos. If I only focused on squatting 300 kilos, I would be very demotivated by the end of the month because I wouldn't really be anywhere closer to it, So I think to myself, right, the end of this year, 2021, I hope to squat 260 kilos. It's still long-ish term. There's another 6 months to go, ish. But it's something that's in the front of my mind. I can kind of gradually work up to in a period of time that isn't just demotivating if I haven't got to it yet. And then next year I can say to myself, right, it's the end of the year. 2022 is upon me. The end of 2022, or even midway through 2022, I'll set a new goal. Do I want to squat 280 by June 2022, and then hopefully 285 by December 2022? Just kind of breaking it down into smaller, lower goals, and then you can check those off at a little tick list. Well, that's how I do it anyway.
I think that's fairly sensible. Just to add on to that, I think one of the more important things is make sure your goals are actually your own. Make sure they're things that you want to achieve and that you hope to achieve. Don't make your goal something like, I'm going to bench 3 plates by whenever, purely because you read online that benching 3 plates is the pinnacle of gymness and manlyhood, or the pinnacle of being strong and fit. For one, it isn't, and two, setting that as your goal, if you can't bench 1 plate, or the bar, or 2 plates, or whatever, is going to set you up for failure if that is going to be your goal without anything in between. If you want to bench that much, then sure, make that a long term goal. But for now, make it benching 1 plate or a plate and a half. And I'd say this is one of the few situations where a time goal isn't necessarily the best for some people. Because it may be the case that, sure, you'll be able to, I don't know, deadlift 200 kilos at some point. But if you set a goal for that and you're only hitting 180 or 190, you might feel like you failed, even though you're deadlifting 190 kilos, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. And if you set your target for just a few months or a year or so later, you would have hit it and probably felt even better without even feeling about the fact that it took you that extra time. It's just important to set goals that are actually meaningful to you, and ones that some you want to achieve sooner and some you want to achieve later. Like Scott said, squatting 260, 280 is probably going to be a lot more achievable in the short term than going straight to 300. And it really just follows on from that.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Okay, your turn to read it out, I think.
How do I stop overthinking of trying to lose weight? There's not really much to it, being brutally honest. As long as you're like following your TDE, which I'm sure someone will quite helpfully put into the chat as a command.
Perhaps that's the issue. Perhaps they're having an issue with having to count calories and think about what they're eating all the time.
Possibly, yeah. I think, well, for that is basically just practice, to be honest. You get a idea, a picture in your mind of how many calories you need, and then within a few weeks, kind of chicken breast calories. The kind of stuff that you should be eating. There is a website called eatthismuch.co.uk, not sponsored yet, where if you give them your calorie amount and your macro amount, it will spit out a menu, and it will give you literal plate ideas, like these are meals that you can have to eat to get the amount of calories that you need.
Aye. Following on from that, I use a calculator at Very Well Fits because I'm not a big fan of MyFitnessPal to figure out what I'm going to eat. And it's very good. It has a calculator where you input the ingredients to your meals and how many portions it is, and it spits out all nutritional value, calories, protein. And it makes it very easy if you have like a few staple meals that you tend to eat again and again. If you just plug it in, memorize that, put it in your phone, whatever, then you have a pile of meals that you can make at any time and know, boom, this will be 600 calories and 40 protein, or boom, this will be this and that. If you put in the work for the first few weeks, like Scott said, eventually it'll become habits. We don't encourage you eyeball it to start off with, but eventually, once you've been counting for ages, it becomes intuitive that you can see it and say, okay, that'll be around 200 calories, and oh, this will be 500 calories, or that'll be 60 grams of protein. Once you've figured it out for yourself and understood what it is that you're going to be eating and what it is that you usually eat, you can tend to focus your count around that.
Yep.
Although I have to admit, when I started counting calories ages ago, it absolutely sucked. I can admit that.
Yep, it does to begin with.
especially when you have to start reading labels to everything you buy and start planning. Like, I never realized sausages were such poor food choices, just in general, because they get
Yeah,
fattened.
especially the cheap
And
ones.
oh, why? Like, little sausages are amazing, but oh god, they'll do number on your heart attacks.
So they've got like pig's feet and like pigeon probably in there, and bits of like bird and
Right,
roadkill.
haggis. I think I care.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm just. I'm heading off to the toilet. I'll be back in a couple minutes. You can just entertain them.
I will certainly try. I've got some balls to juggle and some skittles. No, let's go. Anyway, we're down to one host. Let's go over to the next question. So, any tips on lack of purpose in doing anything? I struggled with this for so many years. Not really knowing what to do. Didn't really enjoy anything. I did things. I went to army cadets. I went to like 2 or 3 different groups. I think I did martial arts for a while, and none of it really felt enjoyable. And to be honest, there's no real good answer to lack of purpose other than if you're not enjoying the things that you're doing, trying to
Did I
find new things to do.
did I return to nihilistic delusion?
Yes.
Oh, good. A symptom of depression.
Yeah, trying to find new things to do is one of the best things I can kind of advise in terms of not having a purpose in doing the things that you're doing right now. I don't know if you have anything to add. The question is, any tips on lack of purpose in doing anything?
It doesn't have to have purpose. If you like it, do it.
How
I mean,
very hedonistic of you.
I know. I Hey, I have a beer right here. I can't care.
Yeah. I
So
stumbled upon fitness when I was 21 or 22, and that is now my passion. It feels like a purpose. It's not really a purpose, but it feels like it, so that's what I'm doing.
I mean, I have that with medicine. I mean, it's easy to give medicine a purpose because everyone goes, I know, good English, but it's just whatever you like. It really is that simple. It doesn't have to have some divine meaning. It doesn't have to have some worldly meaning to it. If your purpose is basket weaving for all you care, then weave the best bloody baskets you can.
Yep.
Okay, next one. I answered. Okay. How do you stay motivated and consistent with a food diet? Eat stuff you like that is healthy. There should be a fairly big overlap there.
Yep. It's yeah. If you can find stuff that you enjoy eating and fits into your macros and calories, then do it. If your diet allows you to have a little tub of ice cream every day, or some chocolate, or a treat, something like that, then that will help you immensely stay motivated because you get to eat chocolate every day. And who doesn't like chocolate?
It's Yeah, who doesn't like chocolate?
It's,
Everything in moderation. Like, I can have a beer now and I can probably have a small liqueur later if I so want, because I count for it. I can have pizza when I want. I can have whatever I want when I want, as long as most of my diet's healthy. Like, I have this, but this morning I had some Greek yogurt, blueberries, cereal, and honey. Then I had fried rice with some chicken breast, and tonight I had spag bol. Don't ask what Scott had. It's not healthy, but it's for charity, so that's different.
I had 200 grams of rice and some kidney beans.
Dinner of champions, right there, everybody.
I'm so hungry.
Would you like a nice pint of Tennent's?
I'd love one. Oh, Anyway, enough about me.
Okay, so next one is your turn, I think.
Let's see. How do you recover from hitting rock bottom? Your sense of identity has just collapsed. Your core beliefs are at question. Without getting into it, it's set off by one big event. When I
Existential crisis.
Yeah, exactly. When I hit rock bottom, I was helped by therapy and medication. Well, actually, I'll tell you the truth. The most immediate source of help was the crisis team on the Samaritan's helpline, who stopped me from jumping off a bridge.
Oh, those lads are good. Mine
They
had a
are
pal who.
they are extremely well prepared. They are extremely well trained, and they know exactly what to do to help you in a crisis. But yeah, no, I cannot stress enough getting professional help in the form of either therapy or medication or a doctor or even one of the crisis lines, because they know exactly where to point you in the right direction, even if it means, like I did, being carted out in a police car to a hospital because, yeah, like I said, I was ready to jump off a bridge. They know what you need and where you need to go to get to it, basically. If rock bottom is where you're at and you have no sense of identity, then you need to speak to someone.
And just on that, I'm posting the number for the Samaritans there, just for anyone that happens to be in the UK.
Good idea. Yep.
Just in case. I can't really comment on this because, unlike Scott, I've not been in that exact situation. What we're taught in medical school is along the medical lines of how to just keep you from doing anything drastic, in the same way the Samaritans are trained how to help talk you back and bring you back. So I can't really say anything on that front apart from what Scott said. If you really are on that brink, talk to someone. You're not gonna get anything good from talking to a mind that's already set on thinking that you're worthless or thinking that you shouldn't be. When people talk about cutting negativity from your life, that includes negativity inside your own brain. Obviously, a healthy amount of criticism is fine, but not to the point where, like Scott, you're standing somewhere thinking about ending your life, thinking about killing yourself. It can't be justified as a healthy thought.
Yep.
Okay, so is it your turn or my turn?
Nope, it's your turn now. You got the next one. I did the last one.
Lucky me. So let's see. Where were we? Oh, I went to the bottom again. 1 second.
We're at 8:30, Nero.
8:30. Nero, how do you balance being kind to yourself and not beating yourself down for missing a workout session, but still drive yourself to be better? Go to McDonald's, go to the gym next time. That's what I do. If you skip the gym, don't weigh on it. Just, I don't know, enjoy your day off. It's missing one workout is never that big a deal. If you're in the habit of going 3 or 4 times a week and you happen to miss one day, so what? It's one day. There will be another.
Yep. Fitness and working out is long term. If you're even as old as I am, you're hopefully planning on being.
Which is really old.
Yep, it's old as time itself, but not quite as old as Picture Chef. Sorry, boss.
He's older than all of us.
I'll hand in my resignation in the morning. No, unless you're 60 or 70, you're planning on being on the gym for decades. Decades is a long time. Missing one workout session in a course of many, many years isn't really going to make much difference. Even in the case of going to a workout session but feeling bad, or say missing that PB attempt, there is always next week, there is always tomorrow, there is always next year. Even in the case of now we've had a global pandemic, I've missed about 16 months of the last 2 years from like lockdowns or recovery from an operation. It's been rough, but just got to like pick myself up and get back into the gym now that I can, because I've still got hopefully 30 or 40 years of working out and like doing well and keeping my fitness on top. So,
Although, how did you find it when, after all that time, you eventually returned to the gym and getting back into that habit? Did you find it more difficult than the first time? Did you find it as difficult, or did you just really sink back into it?
I found it a little bit difficult just because, I felt demotivated from the fact that I had a big chunk of time missing, and then, I got back into it, but then not many months after I got back into it, we had the first lockdown, and that stopped everything again. It's been a little bit demotivating.
Thank you, BJ.
Um, but, three lockdowns later and I'm still in the gym, so
Aye, well, same here. Hopefully it'll stay that way for us.
fingers crossed.
And for any of yous who are in countries where the gyms are open.
Yep.
Okay, so next one I think is yours.
Best way to not be nervous because of an exam and be able to sleep easier. I'm going for my last exam, biology, tomorrow, and I'm working out in the morning from 7 to 9 being legs. So I think it will help with endorphins and therefore letting me perform better in the exam from 12 to 1:30, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I think I can go with this because I had my medical exams not that long ago. And what I can just say is, yeah, if your exam's not till 12 and you've been studying, don't study in the morning. Go to the gym. Do what you want. Do absolutely anything. Just do whatever it is that you would want to do that morning. For me, that day for my anatomy exam, I think it was, I got up at 7. I got dressed in a smart outfit pure because that's what I usually wear to exams. I went. I wasn't at the gym that day. I just turned on the TV, watched some BBC breakfast, even though I don't know why. Made myself a big cooked breakfast, sausage, black pudding, toast, all the trimmings. Just sat there and spent a bit of time on this Discord. Spent a bit of time reading a non-medical text, and then just sitting back and relax. So, yeah, I would highly recommend if you want to go to the gym, go to the gym. If you want to have a big breakfast, have a big breakfast. If you don't, don't. Just don't study right before the exam. It will just stress you out. Just do whatever you want. It really is like that.
Yep.
Anything to add?
No, because my last exams were over 10 years ago and I have no idea.
Lucky bastard.
Basically. No, just basically what's already been said.
Okay, so next. How to stop random thinking when you go to sleep.
I normally have music on, which isn't the healthiest idea. Or I have background music on. Or a TV show.
It is not. It is not, no.
Which I know isn't healthy, but I also have tinnitus. And having some kind of noise in the background helps not have the tinnitus so bad. So that's the main reason I have it on.
Fair point. But to stop random thinking, honestly, I would highly suggest mindfulness, that kind of meditation. It has helped me a bit. I started doing it a while back because I just had times where I couldn't focus, I couldn't get anything done, I was just so wrecked with stress that even thought of going and doing the dishes racked me. But eventually just being able to sit down for 15 minutes and just not do anything, not focus on anything, it wonders. Now my girlfriend actually hates me because I can go to sleep like that. She hates me for that. So I would highly recommend that. I know it isn't overly spiritual if you don't want it to be. It isn't anything to do with the mind or the soul if you don't want it to be. It's just sitting there, focusing on breathing, not thinking about the stuff that you have to do. So eventually, if you do that for a while, you can just lay in bed, focus on your breathing, and eventually, after you do it for a while, then it will come to you. I will guarantee it. Otherwise, see a doctor, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's your turn for the next one.
Alright, I've got to have to scroll down a little bit. It's,
Flying with a nice iron blue.
how to get over the urge of eating junk food? That is a good question, because junk food is so tasty.
I know.
It really,
Okay.
really is. Salty, fatty food is amazingly
You're just torturing
addictive.
yourself right now, you know?
I am, yeah. Pizzas, calzones, kebabs, everything I can't have this week. Yeah, though
The old pizza
the the two things that I do is, well, one of the ways that I manage to not order takeaway is be in the middle of a countryside village with no like Just Eat.
For me, it's be broke.
That also works. No, if you don't look at takeaway menus, if you don't like have takeaway apps on your phone, for example, and you don't have the junk food in your house, you can't eat junk food if you don't have it. Like I said,
It's right out of mind.
with the apps situation, the village thing was a joke, but at the same time, I was serious. I can only order from one place online. The rest I have to phone and physically have cash. And because I don't have cash at all in the house, I can't order from any of the places that only take cash. And the helpful thing for me is that the one place that does take card over the phone, their online ordering system is garbage, so it doesn't work half the time. So I would then have to ring up and pay by cash, and I still can't do that because I have no cash.
Ah,
So if I
yeah.
physically can't get the junk food, I can't eat the junk food. It's like Shaw said, out of sight, out of mind.
Aye, it is like that. I know how you feel. I come from a small town as well, and we had like three good takeaways there. That was it.
Yep.
And aye, if you can't order the food, then you can't get the food. The, the best things I've found are don't cut it out entirely. You can still have pizza. You can still have burgers. Just don't live off pizza and burgers.
Yep.
And just eat healthy food that tastes good. If you eat nothing but steamed broccoli and chicken breast and reheated rice, you're gonna make yourself miserable unless you're one of those weird masochists that's into that. It's no hard to make foods that tastes good and is good. It really is not. Like we have the nourishing recipes in the advice tab that is rarely used now, but still contains very useful recipes. Some of them written by yours truly and yours Scotley.
Yeah, I am
Uh,
going to add more to that when I have time, but that's one of the other things that I say I'm going to
that's
do many
fine.
things when I have time, and
We're
then I
all
don't
gonna
have
do things
time.
when we have time.
Yep,
You know, neither of us have time. Time is not something we have.
true, true. It's
Okay.
something we borrow.
Okay. Next one is you. Is it yours or my turn?
Yeah, 2047. How to not sleep lightly.
You. I don't know. I've always been a heavy sleeper. I can't help you with that.
The things that I've noticed that make my sleep worse are like using devices too soon before bed, um, mostly because of the blue lights, and just generally kind of being too active before I sleep. So generally, I know I just said that I sleep with music on or a TV show on, so do as I say, not as I do. Um, like not having devices next to your face for half an hour to an hour before you sleep normally kind of increases my sleep quality. Um, Removing as much light from the room that you're sleeping in as possible, either getting really good quality blinds or getting blackout curtains, that kind of thing. And I've also found that changing my sleep schedule ruins my quality of sleep sometimes as well. If I have too many late nights, then I sleep long into the morning, or if I sleep too early, then I wake up too early, that kind of thing. So, like, having a sleep schedule and sticking to the sleep schedule helps kind of almost prime my body to say, right, it's 11 o'clock, I should be asleep now. And I should be asleep till 7 a.m.
By 11 up by 7.
So you have anything to add? Or is that...
No, it's just pretty much the same. As long priming yourself to sleep is good. Keeping a standard cycle is good. And for me, it's in by 11, up by 7. I think Scott's the same.
Yep.
I can't tell you how not to sleep lightly because I've never been a light sleeper.
Yep.
But if it's a real problem, then come back to us, I guess. Or if we can't help, then perhaps see a doctor. Although I will say sleeping pills are not a good thing.
Nope.
We really don't like them. I've posted many things about that.
Yep.
Next one. I'm going to start working out soon. I'm so motivated. Good lad, good lad. I'm making diet plans and workout plans, but I'm scared that once I start all that motivation will go away. Is there a way to keep motivation up? Yes, there is. Don't do too much at once. You're trying to start many, many habits all at once. You're trying to work out. You're trying to do it regularly. You're trying to physically go to the gym. You're trying to manage what you eat. You're trying to track what you eat. You're trying to eat well. You're trying to do this regularly. It's a lot to take in at once. And I know how it is. If you're on the sidelines, you're about to start something new, you're thinking, yes, I can't wait to start this. I really want this. And then your third day into it, or your second week into it, you're counting protein again and eating that yogurt whey thing that you thought you'd like but turned out to be disgusting, and God knows how you're thinking. Don't set up everything in advance. If you set up major things but then leave the minor details, it makes it so much easier. If you say, I'm going to use MyFitnessPal, that's a lot easier than saying I'm going to read every single label and track every single calorie, get exactly 140 grams of protein, and eat exactly this much. That'd probably be the easiest way to start as a beginner. What would you say?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Don't run before you can walk.
Basically, yeah.
That's the gist of it. Next one, I think. It's tags for me, but you get to read it out anyway.
I don't know how to phrase this properly, but what is a healthy way to approach your physique mentally and physically? I suppose it's a good thing mentally to accept how you look and be satisfied with that, but if you're pleased with how you look all the time, what is driving you to change and put in the work? On the flip side, if you're never happy with how you look, you'll be driven to improve yourself, but that isn't good for your mental health. Is there a happy medium? You have the floor.
Ooh, this is a fun one. Well, a healthy way to approach it would be, like you say, a happy medium. To always be happy with how you look. What's driving you to change and put in the work? Well, because you're happy with how you look. Assuming that the physique you want is one that requires effort in the gym to get, it will also be one that requires effort in the gym to maintain. It won't be enough to simply go to the gym and then come out and go, alright, got my six pack, got some giant delts, looking bloody derech. I forgot the fucking word there. But
I was about to say that you were trying so hard and doing really well, not swearing, and then...
Yeah, I know, it's ingrained into me. But looking big, jack, tan, looking like all of that. You'll want to stay like that, and go. And not every standard and goal you have will be for aesthetics. You might want to be able to bench more, squat more, deadlift more, press more. You might just want to keep going to the gym. You might want to keep your stamina up and do a bit of conditioning, do a bit of cardio, and keep your physique on the side. There's tons for that. And if you're never happy with how you look, it's good for your mental health to drive toward improvement. There's nothing wrong with accepting that there's things about you that you don't like, that you can change, and doing that. But there's a fine line between things that you can change that are good for you and things that you will never change but try anyway. For instance, things like stopping smoking, going to the gym, eating healthy. All of those are stopping poor habits that make you worse off. And there is nothing bad about engaging in ways to develop them. Well, develop getting rid of them, I should say. But if you begin focusing on improvements that will add nothing to your own value or to your health or to any sense of fulfillment, that's when it becomes an issue. For instance, say you're on a cut. You're on a cut and you're trying to get some good forearm veins and good bicep veins. Most people won't care. Maybe you do. That's good. If you apply too much focus to that, to other detriments, then it becomes an issue. Or you're already quite healthy and you're quite good, and in all other ways, you have a goal physique, but you just feel small. You have body dysmorphia. That's obviously beyond the scope of what you can do by yourself, and you go seek professional help. And what I'd say is the happy medium is a state where you're always hoping for improvement, but you're also happy from where you've come from. If you can say, I'm doing better, I'm getting better, I'm better than I was last time, and I'm still on that track, then you're in a happy medium. Whether you have just lost your first 2 kilos on the start of your weight loss journey, or whether you're competing internationally, it's the same for all of it. If you're happy on where you're going and happy where you are than you were last time, then you're doing well. If you can look back and say, I've come this far and I'm happy about that, or I feel better now than I was and I feel good about where I'm going, then you have achieved a happy medium, and that is where you should stay. That was longer than I thought. Anything to add there?
No, I think you've covered it pretty well, to be honest.
Okay. You say that as if I've given you some sort of advanced trauma.
This entire week's given me an advanced trauma.
And you decided to eat nothing but rice, kidney beans, and depression.
Yep. Hey, I raised several £100s for charity, though.
Just think of the charity. Think of the charity.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
And you can save up a wee fund for yourself to get yourself a nice calzone.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Although, honestly, if it was me, I'd go for a shawarma.
That's a fair point as well.
Okay.
Yeah, next
one. Hello guys, thanks for the Q&A, no problem. Got any tips for someone who's struggling to figure out how they want to look? I've started going to the gym recently for sports performance. I love it, and I've sort of agreed with myself that I also want to try to be aesthetic and look good from now on. My problem is I've had a hard time picturing myself looking huge and ripped, that kind of bodybuilder type, while I also don't want the power lifter chunky look. This makes the motivation to sacrifice on eating whatever I want hard, since it feels like I should do it, but I don't really have a visualization to help me stay on track. Any tips? On to you.
Well, I think you've chosen two extremes. That, you know, the happy medium is always a nice idea to go for. You don't have to go the whole bodybuilder route and look huge and ripped. But just because you're not huge and ripped, you don't have to then go the opposite direction and go for the powerlifter, power belly, chunky, bear mode look. Like, there are between points, there are medium builds. You don't have to necessarily look like you've got boulders for shoulders, but you can look quite nice. And that still requires dedication, hard work, and like eating well.
Everything requires eating well.
Yeah.
Like, you say sacrifice on eating whatever you want. Well, as long as what you're eating isn't just eating crap, as long as we're eating just, yeah, I know what you're thinking there, Scott. uh, as long as what you eat is generally healthy already, and you're not living off of Five Guys as much as we all wish we were, then it won't be that hard. A true diet is one that you can keep yourself to for life. Before the 60s and about then, a diet meant that what you eat. It didn't mean eat this for 12 weeks and watch the fat drift off. It meant this is what you eat. You shouldn't think of a diet as the modern version of a diet. You should think it as the biological sense of a diet of what you eat as an organism, of what you eat as an animal. If you eat 90% of the way down. Scott said, it don't have to be either Arnold or the mountain from Game of Thrones. There are bodies between that. You can be relatively big and relatively toned. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You could be very, very lean. You could be very, very overweight. It has absolutely no bearing. It's entirely what you want. Best thing you can do is just keep going. Start off. See how you feel. See how you look. If you want to be leaner, get a bit leaner. If you want to be bigger, get a bit bigger. You have the complete control over this.
Yep. I zoned out a little bit, so I don't know if you said this or not, but it does take time.
Am I that boring?
Yeah, I've had such a hazy head for 2 days. No, I've had a constant headache for 2 days. It's fun. Yeah, it takes time. You're not going to accidentally overshoot how big you are. I think you said that, but I'm just wanted to make sure.
Okay, next one. I think it's your turn.
Okay, I'm 15. I've been a pretty chunky guy since childhood. During quarantine, I thought I maybe should start working out because my anxiety had been increasing being in the house all the time. I feel pretty insecure when I'm around others, so I always watched some videos on YouTube to help me out, but never actually started getting information. Okay, that's not actually a question.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Scroll down quite a bit. This is some text. Let's give it a try. Blah, 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 blah. Is it okay to go to the gym if you're 14 just to lose weight? Yes.
Yep.
Do you want the next one?
Yep. Okay.
It's
so
902 by Gregorilla.
Yep. Gregory. Okay. What role does exercise play in mental health? Also, how do you think someone should approach mental health medication, especially after your story with misdiagnosis? The question arises because I have this anxiety about taking a medication that will affect the way my brain does things, say lithium, which will make me less of myself. Do you want to take this, or...?
I can take it to begin with. I can talk about the misdiagnosis and then anything you have on top. Mental health medication is a tricky subject because, like you say, it changes your behaviour sometimes. It can come with a lot of side effects which can affect your mood, they can affect your personality, they can affect your energy levels, and a lot of them can be quite severe. I have both been on tranquilizers and have known people on tranquilizers, for example Seroquel, and it effectively turned them into a zombie. But with stuff like that, it's important to note that the kind of doses that affect you in such a way and in the kind of severity of that kind of thinking, it's normally a short-term effect. They're normally kind of bridge medications, as it were, for a short period of time because you need the effect of the medication in order to stay controlled and to stay balanced enough to not, like I said, want to jump off a bridge. Having that anxiety about side effects, I think, is quite understandable. I think it's quite common. You can always, or at least if you're in the UK, you can always get a second opinion. I don't know about if it's the same with the US. If anything, the US is probably easier to get a second opinion because you're not kind of locked into a GP's office like you are here in England. You can just go to a different doctor or a different network, I think, and get a second opinion. But yeah, it's understandable. Like I don't like how heavier, higher dosages affect my ability to think. I have brain fog sometimes and other side effects. But they are medications to help you not want to kill yourself. And if you're not a chronic patient, if you don't have a chronic depression or chronic mental health issue, then having that side effect short term is a lot better than ending your own life because you're not on the medication, basically. That's how I feel about it.
Ultimately, following on from that, medication isn't your only option, and you're never going to be forced to take something you don't want to.
Nope.
You do have a choice.
You do. That's a good point.
Aye. When you go to a psychiatrist or even a general doctor for that matter, it's not going to be a case of you go in, explain your symptoms, and they go, alright, you need this drug. It's going to be a discussion of, okay, so you have a few options. We can get you onto maybe cognitive behavioural therapy. You can start a selective serotonin uptake inhibitor, SSRIs, or you could start many other different options. Some might even just be signing up to a support group, or just, I know some doctors that even prescribe morning exercise just to get people out and about. But and also, medicine isn't an exact science in this case of, okay, you give us these symptoms, you must definitely have this drug, you'll be cured. It is trial and error. Like with Scott's misdiagnosis, it is fairly common. And unfortunately, it does require a bit of trial and error. And ultimately, a lot of drugs in psychiatric medicine work in very similar ways. And yes, you will probably feel some effect, but it is a risk and reward. The risk of feeling a bit different, but the reward of not wanting to kill yourself or being able to get up and have a shower in the morning. It is truly about your priorities and about your own choices. You never don't have a choice about your own well-being, and you will always have a choice about what you take, who you see, and what you'll be able to do about it.
Yep.
Okay. Next one, I think it's your turn to read.
If I can find it. How much time till I see good progress while dieting and lifting? Usually a few weeks.
My rule of thumb is to notice yourself, to feel a difference, 2 weeks. To see a difference in yourself, about 4 weeks. For someone else to see a difference, probably about 8 weeks. Those are good benchmarks. They're not exact, but they're fairly good benchmarks.
Yep.
Okay, next one. How can people eat over 2,000 calories a day? Mate, I could easily eat 3,000, no problem.
Yep, not difficult.
Yeah.
Pizza, nuts.
Yeah, just anything, really. If you eat enough of anything, you'll hit it.
Yep.
Not really much else to say. I don't think either of us here ever ate below 2,000 calories.
Not until Sunday.
Oh, poor you. But then, you're not sticking with that.
Yep. What do you think about keto? It's a diet. It's a way that some people can use to get below a calorie deficit or into a calorie deficit, but it's not magic. We also have a podcast on the nutrition channel that should be pinned. It's from myself and the wonderful admin Annie Entropy,
Shameless
and
self-promotion.
we go into talking about different diet types and fad diets in general, and it's a very good listen. Hopefully, we'll be doing another episode, but who knows?
Maybe with me.
Maybe with you. Shameless plug over. That's fine.
Well, on the medical side of keto, it has benefits for a very small amounts. If you are type 2 diabetic or you're pre-diabetic, then sure, eliminating carbohydrates from your diet for a limited period of time can help improve your resistance and help improve central obesity, two of which are major contributing factors to developing and worsening diabetes. Outside of that group, it's just a diet. Frankly, I don't think I'd be able to do it myself. I did it once when I was about 16, not by choice, because my parents were dieting at the time and they went on keto. I still remember my dad and I would go to the gym, do some made up workouts, come back, and then it would be steak and sausage for breakfast. No bread, no toast, no nothing. And as a kid, as a teenager, I loved it because it just meant I got a very good breakfast because I still got carbs with my dinner. But yeah, I saw keto food firsthand and I would not recommend it. Eating nothing but meat and fat sounds great on paper, but honestly, I found myself craving salads even when I was only eating a bit of low carb, and that's saying something. I would definitely say if you really want to, I guess so, but if you start eliminating entire sections of nutrition from your overall diet, I would be very concerned, both medically and personally.
Yep.
Okay, so next one. How do I choose what I want to persuade in life? I guess pursue in life if there are so many equally interesting options out there. Well, Scott, what's your calling?
Oh, I'm the worst person to ask for this because I don't really know.
Well, I know exactly, so who is the better person?
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. I also struggle with this, so I think you should maybe answer this one.
Uh, well, it is. The thing is, you're young, or I'm assuming that you're young, so you have time to go and explore. You, there, there is this giant idea that by the time you're 14, 16, 18, 20, whatever, that you have to have your life sorted, know what you want to go into, know what you're going to do, and start toward it. I don't. There's nothing wrong with taking a few years, or longer if need be, and trying out a few things. If you like music, science, and literature, do music, science, and literature. There will be ways to afford it. There will be ways to do it. Even if you don't do it as a career, do it on the side. Do it as a hobby. Like I love playing piano. I love playing jazz. For a long while, I worked as a professional jazz pianist. I worked in piano bars. I worked doing gigs, and I did it on the side of medical school. And as much as I would absolutely love to pursue it more, it's currently nothing more than a hobby because fun COVID took my job away. So, there's tons of things you can pursue, but pursuing something and having it as a job are two different things. You can do both. I don't intend to give up jazz or piano anytime soon. I still plan on doing it as much as I can, even though my career will always firmly be in medicine. You just have. I can't really say just have to because I make it sound like it's just oh you just have to do that, but the best way I could see it doing it for myself at least is you decide what do you want as a hobby and what do you want out of as a career. Because once you make that split, it makes it a whole lot easier. This is when Scott looks at me and goes, "You're talking out your arse, aren't you?"
Well, you are, aren't you? No, I'm
Aren't
kidding.
we all? Aren't both of
Yes.
us?
Yes, we are.
That's what this server is all about. Okay, so next one, I think it's you.
Can you eat not a lot but still gain weight? No, because thermodynamics exist and you can't break them.
Yeah.
If you're in a uh, situation where you're gaining weight, you are in a calorie surplus. So you are eating more than you are burning, and that is the reality of it. Outside of certain fairly rare, or at least uncommon medical conditions that cause you to have difficulties
Hypothyroidism.
like hypothyroidism or potentially other
Visions.
illnesses, I'm guessing, that affect your gut, so maybe Crohn's disease.
No, Crohn's disease causes weight loss, not weight gain.
Yeah, but that's what I mean is it's a disease that causes you to it messes with your ability to gain or lose weight that isn't just calorie based.
Interestingly, you know what else causes weight loss and sometimes weight gain? Clinical depression.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. So, guys, keep yourselves up to date and yeah, assuming no medical condition, no, you can't eat a little and still gain weight unless you are absolutely tiny. If you're absolutely tiny, you have a TDE of, I don't know, 1,500, then sure. And you're doing nothing but lying down.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, this next one for
Next one's for
me.
you.
Ooh, it already has a heart. How nice. How do you deal with stress and your life getting more and more busy? Over the last year, my school life got drastically harder and more stressful to where even writing a small paragraph would give me irritable bowel syndrome and an anxiety attack. I was studying in almost all my free time and I'm studying over the summer break. And I would end up procrastinating everything. I'm so thankful I got through it, but I don't want to have to go through this again this fall. I'm taking even harder classes. I used to be fine with hard work like that, but for some reason, which I believe to be tied to grades, because I'm going to for valedictorian and being online, made it much more stressful and intrusive into my personal life. I would go to a therapist if things continue to get worse, but I would want to do everything I can by myself before then. Especially since I might not have the access to any medication while abroad for a gap year. First off, if you're thinking about going to a therapist, you should probably be going to a therapist. If you have to think about it, that's a sign that you should probably be going. As for how to deal with stress, I don't know. I mean, I've never been that bad when it comes to a lot of stress. Like, occasionally I just get big bouts of it, it comes and then it goes back again. But when things started going harder for me at uni, what tended to help was taking a break. It doesn't have to be a big break or a small break, you can do whatever you want, but just take a break of hours, days, weeks, whatever it may be, and then when you're back, look at what you have to do, reformat it, and then break it down. Like I said before, break it down to smaller, manageable chunks. So if you're at the point where even writing a paragraph is being a thing, you might already be on the verge of burnout, where you're doing so much. So honestly, what I'd say is take a deep breath, take a step back, look at what you're doing, see what you really need to do, see what you need to prioritize, give yourself a break, eat a sandwich, get back to it with a fresher state of mind. You have anything to add to that?
Not really, no. I think you've kind of touched on most things, to be honest.
Choice of sandwich?
Yep.
I was asking.
Hmm?
What choice of sandwich would you recommend?
Choice of sandwich.
My choice of sandwich. What?
See, I'm quite
People
boring
must.
with sandwiches, so I normally go for like chicken salad and beef salad and ham salad.
No, you like a Subway spicy Italian.
I do like Subway. I don't live anywhere near one though, so I don't normally like to get. I don't get to one enough.
I
Um,
live a minute away from a Subway and a McDonald's. It's torture.
No, Subway I normally get the steak and cheese, foot long, herbs and cheese,
I can
all
get
salad,
that.
toasted. They've started doing little hash browns as well that you
I
can
know, but
put into the sandwich.
why'd you have to tell me that? Now I have to get a Subway tomorrow. Big get.
At least you can.
At least I can. I'll take a picture of myself eating it and send it to you for that.
I'll ban you if you do.
Please don't ban me anyway. You love me too much.
Yeah, that's what you like to say. What's the next question? I've lost my place.
2121.
Oh yeah,
I
the
know
music
you want
sleeping.
to answer that.
Yeah. Anything you want to add?
Not really.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, sleeping. Anything that interrupts your sleep or like noise, light, that kind of thing, it interrupts. I'm talking medical stuff with like a doctor listening, and I feel anxious about saying the wrong thing. But basically, if you interrupt or if you have something that regularly interrupts your brain from being able to relax more and get into deeper sleep phases, then your pattern of sleep will be disrupted all the time and you will get light sleep for more periods of time, which leads to lower quality of sleep, is my layman's way of explaining things.
That's about it.
It's also why you have lower sleep quality when you're drunk, because you don't get into the deeper sleep as much.
And I'll just quickly answer Gregorilla's thing of, yeah, sleeping pills tend not to be good because for every 10 people that it works for, there will be 20 people that make their sleeping pattern worse. So, yeah, they're not too good. Although that's a thing for you to discuss with your doctor. You want to get the next one?
I can read out the next one, but you should answer the next one, because the next one is melatonin bad for you? And I have no idea.
No. No, it's not to my knowledge. If you're taking a melatonin supplements, then no. There's no adverse effects that I can think of or possibly know of that you can get from taking a melatonin. It might help with your sleep, it might not. It might just do something for you, it might not. Who knows? The only thing I'd say is make sure you do tell any health professional that you're taking it because it can affect prescription drugs. But overall, if you're having trouble and you want to take it, take it. It's your choice. You're an adult, or at least adult enough. But that's not me telling you to take it. It's not me telling you not to take it. But just do whatever you do it responsibly.
Yep. You should probably take the next one as well.
Prevent nightmares. I mean, possibly. If you struggle to sleep due to night terrors that aren't related to any other psychiatric illness, then yes, sleeping pills like barbiturates and some diazepines might actually help. They might be the main word here. But again, something to discuss with your doctor. It also depends what the cause of the nightmares are. It might be anxiety, it might be depression, it might be mania, it might be a whole list of different things. Or it might just be that you're a kid. It could be so many things, and sleeping pills may or may not be for you. I sound like a bloody American drug advert. Please phone your doctor to find for you. But, okay,
Yep.
next one.
What can my problem be if I eat 300 calories and I get hungry 1 hour later? I'm talking about one meal. You're eating 300 calories and calling it a meal.
Yeah, that's not a meal, that's a snack.
300 calories is very small for one meal, and if I eat 300 calories, which I have experience of this week, I don't think I've mentioned it in the last 10 seconds, I get hungry less than an hour later, because 300 isn't that much. You might be smaller than me, you're probably smaller than me, but still 300 calories is quite a small amount. 300 calories is what, maybe a chocolate bar?
A large
Maybe
chocolate bar, right?
maybe two. Maybe two chocolate bars ish.
A large slice of pizza.
Yeah, that works. It's a slice of pizza. Like
Yeah, or
I would
maybe
definitely be hungry after an hour if I only had a slice of pizza.
3 slices of plain thin white bread that you get out of a loaf.
Yeah, that's also a good choice. Yep. Yeah, three slices of bread and I would be hungry after an hour. That's not really a problem. That's just not really many calories.
Or 2 bags of crisps. You could easily scoff those and still be hungry.
Yep. So
That's
yeah,
why you eat. That's why if you have to have a snack like that, you eat fruit and veg and things like that. It's because eating 6 apples, which is 300 calories, that will fill you up. Although who would eat 6 apples is beyond me.
I'm gonna sound like I'm BSing to you now, but I've genuinely sat down and eaten 6 apples more than once.
How?
I really
How?
like apples. Like I really enjoy apples and oranges, and if something's like in front of me or next to me and I'm slightly hungry, I will eat it. And I had 6 apples
What?
next to me, and I just kept
What
eating.
is what is wrong with you? Are you secretly a horse?
I
And you
might
just
be a
love
I might be a horse. I'm a very intelligent horse, if that's the case, because I can speak almost. And
maybe that's why Father Ted wrote a song about you.
oh, Farmer Ted, brilliant. But yeah, no, I've eaten 6 apples before. It was good. I liked it.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Okay.
What's the
So
next one?
if if 300 calories doesn't fill you up, eat more. Simple. Okay, next one. So that was the. Okay, what are some simple meals that are nutritious and filling? I want to gain weight. A
Uh,
shout out again to the nourishing recipes area and my own personal submission, mince and tatties.
that is a very good recipe, by the way.
Thank you. Which I have forced Scott to make in the past. And by forced, I do mean forced.
Yep, he did force me.
Yeah. It was for his
Blackmail.
own good. He had to taste. He had to taste the goodness.
Yep, he had his. He had my family hostage.
Yeah. Come on. It's my granny's recipe. He had to taste it. You
Yep,
don't turn down a Scottish granny.
you do not. I had a
No.
Scottish granny. You don't do it.
Especially if she's Faye Mary Hill.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, just look there. Mince and tatties, just that 7 nights a week, 52 weeks a year. That's you sorted. Enjoy. No need to thank me.
Cool. Next one.
Okay, your turn.
What do you
Yep.
guys think about the people saying that obesity is healthy? They are, without a doubt, some of the dumbest people I have heard of. Obesity is not
I agree.
healthy. Obesity comes with many health risks. I will get my piece out as the dumb smooth brain without a medical degree. Obesity causes high blood pressure. It causes you to have joint problems. It causes you to have potentially cardiac issues, that being problems with
Or
your
cancer.
heart, high cholesterol. Many things are tied directly to obesity. Diabetes, you could lose a leg. Just random things that I can come up with now, that are either directly or indirectly linked to being overweight or obese. Obesity is the direct opposite of healthiness, and anyone who tries to tell you otherwise is either trying way too hard to be inclusive, or they are obese themselves and trying to make themselves feel good.
Okay. If it was up to me, I could rant about this for an hour uninterrupted, but we don't have time for that. What I would say is morbidly obese. It's in the name. It's morbid. In addition to all of those lovely effects that Scott mentioned, there's many more than that. It can't be healthy to carry that much weight. It never is. And God, I'm trying to hold myself back here, but it just simply is not healthy. You can't go around stuffing yourself with McDonald's burgers and whatever else and come at the back of it and saying it's healthy. The amount of people that are on this new movement of being overly body positive is toxic. There's body positivity, which isn't shaming someone for their body, and I'm fully bored with that. But there's a point where you can say that someone is not living a healthy lifestyle, and that's not an insult, this is fact. During COVID, I'm sure many of us have developed some very poor habits, myself included. I used to, when I was working, I would eat bloody fish and chips half the time. But yeah, it's not healthy. It never was, it never will be. And people who say that it is and promote it as a standard way to live your life are extremely damaging. And I can't think of anything worse. Promoting obesity is second only to promoting smoking. And that's why obesity is second only to smoking when it comes to health risks in the population. Like I said, I can go on this for ages, but yeah.
Yeah, so
People
could I.
People that say that obesity is healthy are akin to people who say, I, they should be able to smoke wherever they want because it's their choice. No. Obesity isn't healthy. Smoking affects everyone. Don't do it.
Yep, pretty
Don't
simple.
Get fat should be along don't smoke in public health campaigns. Because it's a lot easier to not get fat than to become fat and try and get rid of it. As any person who went to a Weight Watchers meeting would tell you.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll move on from that, otherwise Scott and I will waste your time until about 1 a.m. Okay, next time. What's a good time to try and sleep, and what's a good time to try and wake up? Whatever time gives you a good, healthy amount of sleep consistently. If that for you is 10 at night and 7 a.m, then good for you. You're getting 9 hours. That's more than probably a lot of people here. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Anything to add?
No, that's pretty much it. As long as it fits your schedule and it's a nice amount of time, then whatever fits your schedule. My parents go to sleep at 9 p.m. because they have to wake up at 4 in the morning. I normally go to take everything off at 11 or midnight, and wake up at about 7, sometimes before. I think at the moment my alarm's 6:30, so I'm trying more for 10:30.
Mine's 7 currently, but I go to bed about 11. There's if it fits your macros and there's if it fits your mattress. That's the gist of it here.
Yep, basically.
Okay, next one. Your turn to read out.
How to keep your head up. Sometimes I can't freaking look up to strangers walking past. I don't know why. I am not a good person to ask this because I am diagnosed with high-functioning autism and I don't look anyone in the eye.
I'm probably not the best person to ask about this either because I don't look down. I just always look straight ahead and always look up. So I can't comment on that. I guess, I don't know, maybe focus on something in the distance.
What I normally do if I have to look at someone, I look through them, which unsettles some people because they can see that I'm looking through them, and it makes them nervous. But yeah.
You tried your eyebrows.
Yeah, it's too close to the eyes. It makes me uncomfortable. I normally just pick a spot between their eyes, just above the forehead, and just kind of hope that it looks like I'm looking at them. But it doesn't always work. But yeah, that's when I have to look at someone. And I don't have to look at many people, so generally, yeah, not really a good person to ask.
Okay, next one. Am I an MD? No, I am not an MD, and where I study, MD is not the certification I get. I'll get MBCHB, which is the British equivalent to the American MD. I'm currently in my fourth year of studying, so I'm currently on placement and practice. So I'm able to practice in the same way as a doctor in a lot of respects, but I'm currently not a doctor. However, I like to think I know more than the average Scots, maybe? Average person? Average fitness influencer, definitely. Uh, so I can help a bit, I'd like to think, but I'll be a doctor soon, just not now.
Cool. This one, is it healthy to drink 3 zero sugar energy drinks a day? And I am anorexic, so this is basically my diet. No.
I think you did a question there.
No, it is not. If you are anorexic, you should be speaking to a health professional. I am not in any way qualified to be able to speak to the diet of an anorexic person. But no, drinking 3 zero sugar energy drinks a day is not healthy. I can say that much.
Yeah, that is not a good thing at all. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, and frankly, I wouldn't be concerned. It's the fact that you said that you're anorexic. If you admit that you're anorexic, I hope that you are getting some help for it, and perhaps you are. I don't know your position. That if that's what you need, that's what you need. But if you're drinking 3 energy drinks a day and you're getting help for your anorexia, and if you like it, then sure, keep doing it. Whatever helps you stick to what you need to do. Whatever works for you. But otherwise, if you're anorexic and you're not getting help toward it, then your priority lies beyond drinking a few energy drinks. Okay,
Cool.
next one. How do you get out of a bad habit like self-criticism? Well, how would you say?
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
It is. I mean, what I spoke about earlier is the habit, is the cycle of getting into first thinking about breaking a habit, then the first act, and then repeating the act. Like thinking about going to the gym, first going to the gym, exercising at the gym, going 3, 4 times a week, repeating it until it's ingrained as a behaviour. But I don't know, like self criticism. I mean, if you're doing it enough for it to become a big enough problem, I think that's a case for you to talk to someone about it, discuss your concerns and your expectations. Yeah, I can't say much beyond that because I don't know your exact situation. Neither of us do, so we can't say what will work best for you. But overall, just be grateful. Gratitude is a very underrated thing when it comes to self criticism. You could easily say, yeah, my arms are smaller than I'd like, but you know what? At least I'm fit enough to walk. At least I'm fit enough to make a change. At least I am making a change. If you think about how from where you've come and where you're going rather than where you wish you were, it will make your outlook a lot easier if it's something that you're able to do. Scott?
I don't really have anything to add, but yeah, works for me.
Fun. Okay. Nuclear tunes. Alright, you want to be a doctor. Oh, again, it depends. If you're still in school, chemistry, biology, maths, English, A's, just do as well now as you can. After that, I'm not sure what it is, but for most areas, you're going to need to sit some form of psychometric entrance exam. For here, it was the UKCAT, it was essentially an IQ test. Just practice the questions. Getting into medical school tends to be the hardest stage of medical school itself because once you're in, it's easy to stay in. But just make sure it's something that you want to do. Make sure it is specifically being a doctor that you want to do? Because a lot of people want to become doctors because they want the prestige of being a doctor, or because their parents pushed them into it, or because they just think, oh, it's a good career. No, it's something that you have to actually want to do. It's not a glamorous career. It's not this amazing top place where it's the London Milk and Honey. It's blood, it's gore, it's paperwork, it's boring, and it's great at the same time. Ultimately, feel free to, if you want to know about Doctor, feel free to message me in general later on. Maybe not today because I'll be a bit busy this evening, but at other times, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer more on that.
Cool.
Unless, Scott, are you secretly a medical student kept that hidden from me for all this time?
Yes, I'm secretly a cardiologist. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no.
Okay, so would you like to get the next one?
Name the healthiest thing off the McDonald's menu. The fruit, little fruit cup.
Either the fruit bags or the wee carrot sticks.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't so hard. Unless they mean like off the burgery menu.
Well, nothing's really healthy from McDonald's. If anything, maybe the chicken would be slightly healthier.
Maybe. What I will say
Maybe.
is a nice treat post-workout snack would be just a plain McDonald's hamburger, like the ones you get in Happy Meals, because it's 250 calories, it's a good amount of protein, and it's nice. It's a perfect amount to just add onto your calories to make a bulk. Obviously, don't make a habit of it, but if you've been to the gym, it's Friday, and you're just craving a burger, then it's a good enough thing to have, and it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay,
Yep.
so next, what helps sleep? No, that's not a question. How to be more confident?
Fake it till you make it.
Yep, confidence comes with practice. Like, I'm still not confident taking blood or talking to patients, but I just have to do it. And whatever it is that you want to get confident in, you just have to do it. It really is just like that.
I am still terrified of Q&As and talking to live audiences, even though I have been talking to live audiences and performing in front of live audiences for close to... Oh, how old am I now? 14 years now, I think. Was because I was 14, 14 when I started with my like music stuff. So I started performing in front of audiences at 14. So about 14, 13 years ago. And I still don't feel confident now to this very day talking about stuff. Even if I know that I know the subject, I can walk on stage and talk about anything or perform a show, perform a gig, and still, have like high heart rate. I get sweaty palms, everything that you kind of typically associate with the stereotypical nerves. And you maybe wouldn't notice or realise because I don't feel like I'm particularly sounding unconfident. That's a word, shut up. But it's something that happens over time. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do this 5 or 6 years ago, but it's something that I can do now, even though I am still thinking in the back of my mind, the boss man is listening, and there's a doctor listening, and there are so many people that know so much more than I do listening in to what I'm saying, and it's terrifying because I feel like I know nothing. But I can do it. Just. Kind of. Maybe.
I can I can somewhat relate to that because even though I'm staff on the server now, like I'm one of the helpfuls, I still feel like the new guy. I still feel like I joined the server like a couple months ago and I'm still just walking about in general, just answering a few questions here and there and asking a few things. Oh, it doesn't really change. Like, this is my first proper thing on Discord, answering some questions. I've not done it here before. I've usually done it on Teams or Facebook or other things for medical reasons that are really boring. But I was really nervous when I came here because I have absolutely no idea how to do this before. So I've just been relying on Scott for half of it, and hopefully I'm not buggering myself up too much. Apart from the fact that I have no filter. So, I think it is really fake it till you make it. There's not much else you can do beyond that. Now the question is there another question?
Yes, 2217.
2217, okay. Ways to help anger. Um, well, outlets. All anger needs some form of healthy outlets. Whether it be the gym. The gym is a very good place to let out anger purely because you're lifting heavy weights, you're getting out the energy. But absolutely anything can be an outlet for anger. Cooking, music, walking, sitting and doing nothing. Anything can be a thing, a channel for anger as long as it's done in a healthy way. Scott, you have much experience with this?
Not really. I've more of a like collapse in myself and just internalize everything kind of person.
How healthy?
So if anything, I just get upset with myself and then internalize everything.
But yeah, that's the best advice at all. Just bottle your feelings up, guys.
Yep, that's it. Show's over.
Yep.
That's the best advice you need.
Yep, nothing else matters.
No, I've never really been an angry person, to be honest. So it's never really been an issue for me.
I've never been angry. I just sound angry.
Yeah,
It's bad enough I'm having to hone back my accent for this.
That's just a side effect of being oppressed by the English for several hundred years, though. Do you need a cough sweep?
No, I need to summon a demon.
Oh, okay.
I can't say because if I was speaking in my full accent right now without holding it back, I'd sound like I was angry at all of you all the time. That's how bad it gets. But if it was a case of anger, I don't think either of us can say. I've never had anger issues. Scott's not had them apparently at all. I don't know. If it is that bad, go see a therapist. That's what therapy is for, to help work out these issues. Okay, so next question. How do you guys cope with injury? I can't say about gym injuries, but I've had some pretty nasty rugby ones.
Yeah.
Silence has begun.
Well, talk about your rugby injuries then.
Well, a lot of them were the typical injuries you get in the gym. Like the worst one I remember was I was in a ruck. I've just been tackled. I had my arm out presenting the ball. For those of you who are American or don't know rugby, it's like American football except played with real men. And yeah, so I was on the ground, hands out, holding the ball, presenting it, and it turns out the referee didn't check our boots for studs. You wear studs in rugby, but sometimes you usually wear metal, and they didn't check them, and so some of them were spiked instead of flat, like they're supposed to be. So when I was there, this nice big spiked stud went straight into my forearm, right by my elbow, and went in, and it hurt. That hurt. But it got better because as he got pushed back in the ruck, it actually scraped right down my arm, leaving a long gash in there, and that was not fun. I think the worst part about that game was we had no substitutes, so I just had to keep playing.
Perfect.
You're saying something?
I was just laughing at the No substitutes. It's perfect.
Yeah, 15. Exactly, perfect.
Yep.
The way I got over that was it's not healthy, but I just had a pint and wrapped it up. But I I guess in the way of gym injuries, I can't really say because I've never really had one. For rugby injuries, it was just a case of I took a few days rest and it usually got better or got bearable enough for me to keep going. I can't say what worked for you.
Well, my recent back injury was dealt with by um, a few weeks of physiotherapy, and now I have to stretch and do mobility work like most people should, but don't. It set me back a little bit. I had to kind of go easy still on deadlifts and squats, for example. But I'm mostly healed. There's still a little niggle in the lower back. But yeah, it just
Always
takes
one.
time, physiotherapy, and then patience, and then not hopping straight back into the same weights that you were before the injury, because that makes things worse most of the time.
Uh, well, I hope that helps you. Okay, what's the next one?
I believe we're mostly at the bottom now.
I believe we are. How do you avoid tearing muscles? Stretch, warm up,
Yep,
go ego lift.
mobility work, as I said. Yeah, tearing
I'm gonna.
muscles sometimes just happens. It's something that is a freak accident. People can have the best of form, they can have the right routine, they can do nothing wrong, but as soon as they pick up that bar, it will still tear your bicep.
Did Joe just ask me to play the Wellman? So,
Yeah?
did you just ask me to play the Wellerman? The Wellerman.
He just asked you to perform Wellerman, yes.
I'm not sure if I should.
It is your choice.
I want your inputs.
Well, it looks like we've eventually ran out of questions.
Something to kill time until more questions.
Yeah.
Do I have to sing or just play?
No, you have to sing as well. We have to do
I
the
have to sing, but
lyrics.
I can't sing. I can't sing though.
Yeah, neither can I, but you know.
But here we are.
You definitely have to sing.
Cold showers, you can have a cold shower if you want. Cold showers aren't really magic, they don't really do that much. So if you like cold showers and you feel comfortable having cold showers, then have cold showers.
Don't know why you want one, but okay, if you want. There we go, that's the thing. What key to play this on?
F sharp major.
You forgot. Well, it's a minor key song.
Yeah, but that's why I want you to do it in a major key to make it different and unique.
Oh. Yeah. Alright, minor key it is.
Do it in B sharp.
Wow, I've never heard that one before. Well, I'll have a drum here as well, that'll be perfect. Let's see, I can't sing, so. No, that's not working. Yeah, yeah. You see here how I can't sing.
The Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is gone, we'll take our leave and go. Very happy.
Well done, mate.
Let's
Well
go
done.
on.
I'm proud. I'm proud.
That's disgraceful. Okay, I apparently solved all of Rick James's mental issues.
Yeah, we kind of missed the singing, mate.
The sing, okay, fine. I'll fucking sing.
Redo it.
I stop swearing. Okay, so. There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billiard Tea. The wind blew up and a boat went down the hole on River's Road. Soon may the woman come, bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the time is done, we'll take our leave and go. Yeah, as you can tell, I can't sing. Still, out of all the songs you could have requested, that's the one you picked.
Well, yeah, it's the best song out there right now, so you know.
Any other requests before we get some more questions? Okay, that can piss off. Yes, I can, but I'm not sure if I should.
Oh, go on, mate. Do it.
Only if you sing.
I think Scott will take this one.
Oh no, I have sudden audio issues.
As you can tell, I've not played this in years. Yeah, I've not played that in years. As you can tell by how badly I butchered it.
Cool.
That was great, mate.
I can feel the boss just slowly hating me as I do this.
That was pretty
Well,
solid.
it looks like we've maybe run out of questions.
Yeah, unless someone asks a question in the next minute. Otherwise, I'll just be playing piano here by myself as this live stream ends. There's one for you, Scott. How to stay motivated for the gym even at hard times.
Yeah, it's difficult. I always try and look towards my results that I've created, that have happened in the past, and kind of reminded myself that even even if it was difficult at the time, I still managed to set that goal and manage that goal, achieve that goal, even if it took 2 or 3 years, as in the case of, say, like my deadlift PB, which took many years because I am terrible at deadlifts. Looking back on that and realising that, yes, even though it was hard, it's something that I managed to persevere with, and It's something that without hard work and dedication wouldn't have happened. So it's kind of reminding myself that yes, it's difficult, but there are tangible benefits to keeping yourself motivated, because that's when you are able to get the results that you're able, like, try and manage, achieve. I'm running out of words.
Do you want me to get you a dictionary?
I would like a dictionary, yes.
Well, too bad I don't have an English one.
Ah, that's a shame.
Indeed. I mean, if you want to talk about it in Gaelic, I'd be more than happy.
I can try, but I'm struggling with Norwegian in the first place, so Gaelic would be even harder.
Oh, Chanel. But what's the next one? Positive outlook and self-worth. I would develop good habits. Just make sure that you have something that you do that you enjoy doing, and see it as something worth doing for yourself. It's hard to have self-worth if you don't think you're doing anything. So make sure you actually find something that you want to do. This doesn't mean career-wise or anything unless you want it to. It could just be having a shower in the morning, brushing your teeth, basic self-care. Doing that and then doing small things to help your productivity tends to be more than enough to help improve your self-worth if you're feeling down.
Yeah.
Gecko, we've answered that question so many times, it pains me to read it.
Especially since he's literally in the stage.
He's literally here, right now. He's either alive, or you've been talking to someone else for the last while, completely unaware. And considering he sounds like him, talks like him, and is in his own account, I would be 99.8% sure that is him.
Either that, or I've nailed a California accent in the last year and a half and haven't told anyone.
Go on, use a shot.
Yeah, I haven't, but...
I want to hear the impression anyway.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I'll let you ask me to try an accent in return.
Nah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, let's not subject anyone to that torture.
Exactly.
Why does having everything under control end up being the opposite, that it overwhelms us? I did medicine, not philosophy, so this will be fun. Scott?
Well, it's like, say, trying to keep everything under control at the same time is overwhelming by definition. There are some things that you just shouldn't and can't try and control. Life is messy. Life is full of things that are out of your control, and trying to do the opposite of that and trying to keep everything in control is unsustainable, because there are too many things to try and keep in control at the same time. Trying to have everything under your control at the same time is just a recipe for disaster.
The easiest thing to control is to accept that there are things that you can't control. Myself, for instance, my dad, he has diabetes. His dad, he had diabetes. The thing is, they're both extremely healthy. Never overweight, never poor health, but they still got it. So I'll have to accept that once I hit my mid-40s, I will also get diabetes. It's near inevitable, no matter how good my diet may be. I can't control that, but I've accepted it. I've never really had much of an issue with it. But that's just me. I'm not sure how it might be for you. And honestly, I never will, because I don't know how you might cope with these things. It's a very individual process, and it's very hard for someone to tell you exactly what you need to do. There's no step-by-step instruction. There's no to-do list of, okay, first, have an existential crisis. Second, develop core values. Third, develop an action plan for my next 10 years of well-being. It doesn't work like that. And trying to pretend that it does only sets you up for failure. Okay. You can take the next one while I quickly deal with something. I'll be back in a minute or two.
Okay, how to deal with self-sabotaging. It's not an easy thing to do. I know the feeling all too well. I say it as a joke quite a lot that I don't feel worthy of kind of self-esteem in a way. I feel like I am not smart enough to really do anything. I feel like I'm not strong enough or not healthy enough in certain ways, and learning to not drag myself down and listen to those voices that are saying all of these negative things it's a difficult thing to do, but once you realise that it's only yourself that's thinking those things, that you start to realise that they are voices that can be ignored. My lack of self-esteem is something that is in my head every day, but at the same time, even though thoughts and processes manage to kind of bubble up and tell me that I'm not good enough for anything, it's something that I can ignore enough to a point where they don't bother me anymore. And that's really the kind of thing that you need to do, is to realize that these aren't external thoughts, or these aren't external influences. It's just you thinking this. And if it's just you, it's something that can probably be ignored.
Good answer. I didn't hear most of it, but good answer.
I'm glad you have faith in me, because I don't.
Yeah, I don't have faith in myself either.
Hey, join the crew.
Imposter syndrome, what a treat. So, next question. May you read it out?
Well, it's for you. How do you stop procrastinating for uni work?
Oh, I've never stopped. In the run-up to my exams, when I really had to study, it was very much a case of cut out all distractions and just do not let myself do anything until I get my prescribed work done for the day. I would set up a list of things I needed to get done, what I needed to get done what days, and what I needed. And then I employed the Pomodoro method. So I just would study for 40 minutes, or 45 minutes, take 15 minutes off, repeat all morning, have an hour for lunch, then repeat into the afternoon, and then take the evenings for myself. That way I got a lot of work done those days, and then I would have some free time to relax. It's not sustainable. It never was. It was for 3 months maximum. But what I would say is a lesser version of that has kept me going, so I'm a bit more prepared now. So what I would say is an hour or two a day. Do an hour or two a day. Doesn't even have to be prescribed work, just things on the side, and it will eventually come to you. If it's worked for me so far for the last 3 years, it'll probably work for you as well. I would recommend it to anyone. Pomodoro method. Okay, so let's see. Next one. Okay, blood flow restriction training. My opinion, I wouldn't really bother. It has some mixed evidence from the journals that I've read on the subject, but I've not read anything conclusively significant about it. So until there's a significant study that's been published that I've read, or professionals told me about that I can trust, that it is significantly better and safe, then I would not recommend it. From what I've read in the studies, it does seem to be proven to be safe enough to use, but I wouldn't press ahead with it. And regardless of if it's good enough or not, I wouldn't press ahead with it unless you've got all the other fundamentals of diet, recovery, sleep, exercise, and your training program down to a T. Only once you have all of those down do you start having a little think about other ways to improve your training. Anything to add there?
No, I don't really know much about it, so you're the best person to talk about it, really.
The thing is, I haven't heard much. I've read a bit about it, so I understand what it is, but overall, no. No, 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 no. Okay, next one. Can you find it?
It's near the bottom. How long will it take to get lean from 28% body fat? It depends.
It depends. That our favourite phrase on this server that we've only said once so far. Yeah, it does depend. We can't say much more than that. It depends what you define as lean. It depends on how quickly you lose the weight. It depends if you have any breaks. It depends on what your training regime is. It depends how much cardio you do. It depends on your own metabolism. It depends on your stress levels. It depends on your sleep. So much to say. But if we were to absolutely give you a ballpark figure, completely out in the wind, not at all accurate estimation, you can expect to lose about 10% body fat within around a 6-month time frame, give or take. Again, that's not a full recommendation, it's not a full suggestion, it's just a ballpark figure that some medical experts use as a figure just to track basic progress. But yeah, beyond that, just lose weight. Just start. Don't worry too much about it.
Cool.
And so,
Is it really bad to base our happiness on that of others?
not as bad as you think, but not healthy.
It's not the best. I don't think it could be the worst thing you could do, but I mean, really,
Even really comes in where you look at the lifestyles of people on Facebook, Instagram, posting the best part of their lives and making you feel inadequate for sitting on the couch eating crisps. But honestly, happiness isn't a full state of being. It's something that comes and goes. And what most people think of happiness is when happiness comes more than it goes. As long as that's the case for you, then you're happy. You could be broken in a crap place to live, but as long as you're happy, you're happy. You could be rich and have all the luxuries in the world and be unhappy. It's entirely your thing. It's what you need. So no, you shouldn't be basing it off other people. Okay, next one. Okay, is Dianabol methanol safe? Okay, so a testosterone agonist. Steroid agonist. It's safe when it's prescribed under the supervision of an advanced, competent medical practitioner who has taken a thorough history and examination of someone that has a potential condition that requires this medication. It is not safe for a layman or fitness user to just go online and use at their own free will. It is not something that should be used non-medically. I would not recommend it. Androgens, anabolic steroids, that road to go down. It is your choice, but it's not one I recommend purely for all the medical effects that you can see down the line. Like, there's tons. There's estrogenic side effects, there's fluid retention, liver damage. They're all potential issues. I would not go along with it. And that's my somewhat medical opinion, but don't take it as that. I'm not a doctor, I'm just a student.
Cool.
Anything to add there?
I'm even less of a doctor than you, so not really. Drugs are bad, okay?
Drugs are bad.
Yes. Why do people avoid egg yolks? Because they are misled into thinking that the cholesterol level will cause high cholesterol in your blood, in which case, not really a good reason to avoid egg yolks.
No, not really. I know some people that just avoid them purely because they don't have as high protein as egg whites, which is good enough, although... Have you had an egg white only omelette? They're sad.
They
They're
are
just so sad.
they are very sad.
I know, just have the yolks in there. Make all the difference, and you won't be miserable having your omelette.
Yep.
Take away from that question, I want an omelette. But as we time marches on, and so do we. So.
I believe we're...
Why do eggs cause constipation? Probably I can think of at least 3 reasons, but overall it's the protein, it's the fact that they're eggs as a start, and if you're getting constipation from them, you're probably eating a bit too many.
Yep.
Yep. Takes on philosophy such as Stoicism and Buddhism. I am not the person to ask on this. I'm a material nihilist. I don't hold a philosophy per se. I'm just here to live. That's it.
Yeah.
Yourself?
No, I don't really read too much about philosophy. I've been reading more about it simply because my girlfriend is currently at uni, and her English literature modules include quite a bit of studying on different philosophies during the different time periods. But as I'm trying to get her to, but it's a bit difficult. Yeah. But no, I am far too smooth-brained to be able to understand much about philosophy in any way. I just want to lift heavy things and stop the voice in my head from screaming at me.
Lift big and make brain stop.
Yep.
Okay, next. Any recommended books on how to overcome hardship or eliminating anxiety? No recommendations from me. I've not really read anything down that road. What about yourself?
Unfortunately not, no.
Well, sorry Nolan, you're a bit stuck there. Enjoy the inevitable Google search that will follow. Hey, there you go. Keith Gill's helped you out. Say thanks to Keith Gill. Oh. And that's his real name, trust me. Okay, how to avoid messing about when you have a high level of ADHD? Get treatment. Having ADHD means you will mess about, so get treatment. Go see your doctor. Next question. You can... Oh, there is no next question.
Cool. Well, I don't know about you, but this has been almost 3 hours long.
Oh, aye, so it has been.
I need to film a very quick end of day update video for my ration challenge and upload that before it gets to midnight.
Okay. Well, let's see. If there's no finishing questions or any questions for you from me, we'll close the Q&A with a banger song. Alright, what would a good banger be? Mr. Brightside does not work for a piano. It does not. Oi, oi, oi. Alright, ABBA. Do you want some ABBA? Dancing Queen, you had to pick the one I forgot how to play. I know, I'm a very bad pianist.
It can't be that hard. Well, there's only, what, 8 notes? 12 notes?
Gimme, I can play. Moonlight Sonata takes too long. I know, unless you want Queen, or just or a TV or movie theme. Or musicals, I can do musicals. Joe, I will personally come round. Can you take a note of the people that said the Ghastly just for later, Scott? I think we need more to do. I'm no singing. You heard how bad my singing was. Let me think. Maybe I'll actually get to the piano, that would help. Any more of this and I'll just give me what are your favourite films that have good music? Or your favourite musicals? Scott?
I mean, Hugh Laurie's always good.
Hugh Laurie is good. The problem is we're the only two people here that probably listen to Hugh Laurie.
True.
And then I spend the next 7 minutes playing St James Infirmary.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
No, you wouldn't say no. Let's think. Let's think something. Maybe reset it.